Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And as I'm sure you have heard, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did not reach an extension with the Toronto Blue Jays on his self-imposed deadline day. He's going to free agency, guys. He is going to free agency at age 26 after this 2025 Toronto Blue Jays season. And yeah, we're pretty devastated. We're pretty broken up about it. He spoke to the media about this. We're going to talk about everything that he said. Ross and Mark, they are going to speak later. Maybe if they've got some stuff to say, we can go and we can talk about that a little bit later. But right now, we're just going to break down what Vladdy said, what this means for Toronto as a whole, and just our chances overall of retaining this guy because this is the Blue Jays. This is the Toronto Blue Jays in the last 5 years that I have known them anyways. This is your guy. Maybe you don't want to call him a generational talent, but at the very least, he is a franchise player, and right now, he is not locked down on your franchise for very much longer. So let's flash over immediately. Jeff Passan came out this morning and, said that, yeah, there was no extension reached with Guerrero and the Toronto Blue Jays. This sucks. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I said last night in a tweet that I would be absolutely demoralized if the Blue Jays didn't sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because not only was he the face of the franchise for the last 5 to 6 years, but he would have been the face of the franchise for the next 5 to maybe even 10 years because when I look at that prospect system, I don't see any Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s down there. I don't see any Bo Bichette's down there. There's literally nobody in this prospect system right now that can replace the production value and the stardom of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And there's nobody on the free agency other than Kyle Tucker this year that is going to replace Vladimir Guerrero Jr., at least for the next few years until Gunnar Henderson's a free agent. It's demoralizing. And the fact that they didn't come to an agreement is an utter failure on behalf of Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins, and the Blue Jays front office because you didn't see this picture that we're all seeing right now. And there's a lot of things that Vladdy came out talking about. I want to say this first about Vladdy. He actually is handling this really, really well. And I got to respect the guy. He's doing a great job. He's having self-respect, saying, this is my self-imposed deadline. We're only negotiate to here. And then after that, I'm going to play well for my teammates and myself because I understand it's a free agent contract year. And I don't want to talk about the free agency anymore. So I got to give him all the respect.
And which is totally fair too, right? Ultimately, this is a cloud not only hanging over us as Blue Jays fans, but it's got to be hanging over him as well. And eventually there's got to be that time where, okay, now I got to focus on baseball. Because if I am going to be a free agent, I want to play really well. And I also want to win with this Blue Jays team as it is right now. And obviously that deadline was last night. And now he's focused on baseball. Now, he came out and said that they weren't actually even ever close on an offer. And this, to me, this kind of pisses me off a little bit because how we've had this guy for 6 years. You've seen what he can do with this team. You were never close on an offer. He's saying that effectively he had his number all along. He changed it a little bit. And I do want to talk a little bit about what that number could be because obviously that impacts this entire thing. But he had his number and the Blue Jays had their number, and they were not seeing eye to eye.
They were not at all right? And I would think that, when they were leading up to this deadline, they were going to use this time to, try to get the number down or try to get somewhere close. But really, what I didn't know was that they weren't going to budge at all. We don't know the numbers, of course. We don't know how far away they were, but apparently they were very far away. But they weren't even close at all. They weren't being willing to even match his number, knowing that what could happen is losing your star franchise player. Now, is that going to close the door, this deadline? Not at all, unless the Blue Jays offer a realistic offer. So what that also tells me is that their offer wasn't even realistic. If you want to do some detective work here, the door won't close until they offer me a realistic offer. So if that make it what you will, their offer wasn't good enough.
So yeah, let's be very clear here. Let's just say that Guerrero's number was $500 million. I don't know if that's the case or not, but let's even flat, easy to think about $500 million.
That's a lot. Yeah.
There's no more negotiating now. However, if in the next week of time, the Toronto Blue Jays have a sudden change of heart, maybe they hear the fan outcry and they're like, oh shit, we were not ready for this heat. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
of course, right. It's not going to happen. But they could theoretically offer him his $500 million, the offer that he's wanted the whole time, and then he would accept. Now, it is very important to note what that number is, and we don't know what Vladdy's number is, because let's be completely honest here. If his number is the same as Juan Soto, for instance, sorry, dude, we're not going to give you that, or the Blue Jays aren't going to give you that. You just aren't worth that, right? Even though you're a great player and everything like that. So obviously, like, I wish we knew the exact finances here, because that would really sway my decision as to how I'm looking at the front office, how I'm looking at Vladdy one way or the other. Point being, though, clearly they thought his number was too high, and honestly, like, if they're thinking that right now, nothing is going to change in the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, what would change?
He's going to free agency. Yeah. And then the second that the season starts, if the season starts and then you try to renegotiate, it's a no-go. Because if he's starting to play well, no negotiation.
We brought this up, and I actually like that you made this tweet right here. Like, literally every time during the season, Vladdy homers, or the Blue Jays win, or they lose, literally everything that happens this season, it's always going to come back to Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Like
every single
thing. The follow-up question is, what does this mean for Vladdy?
Yeah,
every time.
Absolutely. And you're going to see why. We're going to dip into some more of these little quotes right here. Listen, if you think that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. doesn't want to be here, or he doesn't want to sign back with the Jays, you're still wrong about that. He does say he wants to be here. Maybe that could be PR talk. We'll see. He says he wants to be here. He wants to be a Blue Jay for the rest of his career, but it's free agency. It's business. I'm going to have to listen to 29 more teams, and they're going to have to compete. So, I mean, he's just stating the facts. He's going to free agency, which means every team in baseball is going to want to talk to him, and he's going to listen, and the Blue Jays now are going to compete for Vladdy, and that's where I always circle back to why it's a failure for Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro. You had him one-on-one, one-on-one, and if you could have seen, obviously hindsight will always be 20/20, but if you could predict that Vladdy's going to have a good year again, and then he goes to free agency, you have to ask yourself, is that the number that I'd be willing to pay next free agency? Because if it is, then you freaking pay it right now. If it wasn't, then yes, you go let the market determine who.
And also, too, I mean, if that's the number that, like, let's face it, let's say his number is $500 million.
Right.
Well, I would say that with the psychopaths out there like Cohen and, like the Dodgers and the Yankees and whatever,
they're paying.
I mean, like, tack on 20%.
They're paying,
right? Because that's we're going up. We're moving up now at this point, because in those negotiations, now you got to go. You got to fight against them, and this is what worries me a lot. How have we done? I know that we've gone out, we've got free agents before, right? We got George Springer, we got Santander, whatever. How have we done in the last couple of years with the premier talents?
Terribly. I mean, we were runners-up for Shohei Ohtani, but it didn't matter. He didn't choose us. Yeah, the one advantage we have is that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was a Toronto Blue Jay.
That's the one
advantage. But you better pony up, because you're right. I'm scared to see what the hell happens. Because if Steve Cohen determines I want Vladdy, he's going to go get Vladdy.
He will.
Like, there's nothing you can do about it unless you literally want to go toe-to-toe with Steve Cohen. So it's, again, that is a scary thought. There's a lot of scary thoughts here. And here's another one. You brought up in your tweet, every win or loss matters for the Blue Jays. You might ask, well, that only matters because it's free agent, or it's just the playoffs and for the fans or whatever. No, it matters to Vladdy too. This is the first time I've actually heard him talk about this a little bit. Shai Davidi saying, when asked about what Vladdy wants in free agency, he says a winning team. As you guys know, my dad played for a lot of years and he never won a World Series. And I always said my personal goal is to win a World Series and give the ring to my dad. That's what I'm looking for. So if the Blue Jays have a losing season and doesn't make playoffs, that will impact free agency. If he goes to free agency, and there's the Boston Red Sox.
Meanwhile,
there's the New York Mets. We literally have a disadvantage now.
Exactly. And we're already seeing these rumors and just various speculations about this come out. Like, the dust isn't settled yet.
No.
Ross and Mark haven't even spoken.
No.
And fucking John Heyman is out here already, guys, saying the early favorites to land Vladdy Jr. this winter. He's got the Red Sox 1, the Mets 2, and then the Yankees 3. I don't see Toronto there. Now, maybe he's just leaving them out because, I don't know.
No, he hates us. He hates us.
But, like, we're already seeing this shit. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. This is the type of stuff that you're going to be seeing, reading, hearing about
Oh, yeah.
All year long.
And this
all
is
year long.
This is what the front office has done. You did this by not extending him and locking him down. You are now putting yourself at risk. You're putting your fan base in torture right now. You thought, I actually said this in a video room. You thought last year was bad? This year could be disastrous.
Especially if we start losing too.
Especially if we get off to a terrible start and we start losing, it could literally be disastrous, right? There's a couple other things here again, like he's not going to negotiate in the following year. He knows his value. He's going to stick with it. But again, it's all just business for Vladdy, and he's doing the right thing. So I guess with that being said, Nick, there's a couple things I wanted to ask you right here. If Vladdy has a good year this year, right, if he goes into the season has a good year, is that going to hurt our chances? Because that's what I'm thinking is if his values goes up and the Mets go crazy, we might not get him back.
Dude, like I genuinely think that we're kind of going to be playing behind the 8 ball regardless here. Like, unless the Toronto Blue Jays go out and win a World Series and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is like their key talent, and then like Ross and Mark open their eyes and they're like, oh, like, we're going to give you whatever you want because you did this for us, right? This is fantasy land for me, right? Okay, I'm coping right now. I'm coping. But unless that happens, which let's face it, probably not going to happen, I find it so hard to fathom that they're going to be able to compete with Steve Cohen, with the Yankees, with the Dodgers, all that shit, right? Like, the only thing that maybe is giving me an ounce of hope is reminding myself what happened this offseason with Pete Alonso. They offered Pete Alonso a contract, right, a couple years ago. He turned it down. And then he hit free agency and ultimately actually ended up taking less money and going to the New York Mets. Different situation, different player.
He played a little bit less than his career averages too.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, I mean, to answer your question, if Vladdy pops off here and, like we're looking at MVP 2 Vladimir Guerrero Jr. again and all that stuff, you can picture him already in Dodger blue or like in
Mets.
pinstripes.
I see him in Mets.
It's scary, man. It's scary.
Well, here's the thing. This is a pre-recorded podcast, but we did just get a live update while we're recording this at 8:57. Ross Atkins is now speaking to the media, so I'll flash this over right here. Hey guys, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below or click the link in the description to join the action. Available in Ontario only. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. Atkins saying, I'm obviously very disappointed. We worked very hard. The motivation is still there.
Listen,
let's hear your first thoughts. Go ahead.
I'm angry right now.
Go ahead. I love it.
Because the motivation is still there. That's fucking bait. That's fucking bait, Ross Atkins. It's over. I don't care that you're motivated.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
The deadline was that's
it
like
passed,
me, that's
buddy.
like me going to my high school teacher and being like, like I'm so motivated to get this project done, and they're like, dude, like it was due yesterday.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Sorry, we're not accepting anything. Like,
no, but
I don't care that you're motivated.
I worked very hard. Yeah, you only wrote 2 of the 6 pages or whatever the fuck in that high school thing, comparison. But still, the point is,
it doesn't matter how you feel anymore,
over.
Ross. Like you, unless you are willing to pony up to the number that he has. Let's say it is 500. I don't know if it is or isn't, but like if that's the number, you have to be willing to pony up. Are you motivated to do that? Last night you weren't. If you've had a change of heart, then please feel free. Like shut me the hell up and get this thing done. But it doesn't matter how motivated you are if you're not willing to do that.
Also, I just had an anonymous tip off right here saying, look at Rogers' stock price last year. The team was in no place to work out a deal with him. Look, and if finances are the issues, then effing trade the guy.
Yeah.
Then like, what are we doing here? Like,
which let's also bring up too, guys.
Yeah.
That's going to be another conversation now. Now that he is not on an extension, and now that he is going to be hitting free agency, should the Toronto Blue Jays get off to a rocky start this year? Like if things aren't going well, the bullpen is still just as bad as it was last year, lineup's not mashing, Guerrero's still playing well. Should they get off to a bad start? Welcome the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trade rumors come trade deadline. We don't have him on an extension anymore.
No.
Yeah, there's no. Let's face it, right? If we'd have him for 2 more months after the trade deadline, But I mean, there might actually be a realm of possibility where they trade him away if we are not playing well.
And if that happens, I don't know how faster you can fire Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro. Because also take this in. This was something that we don't have the tweet up here, but Ross Atkins' contract is up after 2026. Mark Shapiro's up after this season. Just fire them already. What are we waiting for? Also, we got another quote right here from Ross Atkins talking about how close they were. It just depends on how you define close. That's too big of a word to talk specifically about, and I'm not comfortable talking about numbers. Honestly, just get the hell out of here, Ross Atkins, man. Like, seriously,
I'm so sick
just get the hell out of here, bro.
I'm so sick of this guy, man. Like,
just get out.
You think that you're starting to like a guy after he gets Santander and Scherzer,
no,
and then you listen to him speak again, and it's like, oh my god, I did not miss this.
Rose-colored glasses, man. Like, oh, we all thought that all those moves were leading up to this moment. Nah, they can't get it done. They can't get it done. Well, that's terrible. Go ahead.
In conclusion, everybody, this sucks, and honestly, up until like December of this year, probably, right? Because we're assuming Vladdy will probably be one of those free agents that signs during the winter meetings or, just after them or something like that. Up until December, the entire conversation, everything is going to be centered around what happens with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Will he stay? Will he go? How are the other teams looking that he may want to go to? How are the Blue? Everything. I don't like it. I wanted this to get done, but Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro felt differently, so welcome in. Here we are, guys.
If you want to direct your anger anywhere, there you go. There's Exhibit A. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit that like button. Smash the subscribe button. $4 a month to become a Patreon member or YouTube member. Shout out and thank you to all of our YouTube members. You guys are absolutely awesome.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always,
go Jays, go!